Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to What Remains of Edith Finch, or the sadness, the ever-encroaching sadness. The more I play the game, I see the individual stories as like very sad stories that are told in a frame of hope, but at the same time, it feels as though a lot of this sadness could have been avoided. Like, did the Finches need to bring their house with them? If like the dad, when the dad marries the stepmom and the kid dies flying his kite in a storm, nobody bothers to say, "Hey kid, there's a storm going on. We're gonna need to go inside." They seem to forget about him. When Lewis Finch retreats into his own world and kills himself, like, the only person that seems to be talking to him is his psychiatrist. The baby was left in the bathtub because the mom needed to have a conversation in a space where the baby wasn't in, even though the baby doesn't speak English. Like, I know, like, babies pay attention to tone. Like, if you're yelling in front of... But your kid's in a bathtub. Like, pay attention. It feels that a lot of the problems could have been avoided. But I guess here we are. Alright, this is the path.
Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
I don't know what would be easier or harder. Do you pull off the band-aid? Do you tear it off, or do you do it slowly? How do emotional band-aids compare to physical band-aids?
I understand why we left.
Like, Dawn tried to block out the inherited sadness.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
But in the end, apparently the only solution was to leave it behind entirely. Maybe. Although I suppose this leads to my idea that that they shouldn't have brought their house with them.
To tell you about that last night.
There's figures like Lewis had. That is one low-hanging ceiling.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say
Oh.
a word.
And now this is actually being told from her own perspective, because she is writing it herself.
To our final night together, and all our final nights
Oh.
apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway.
She was wearing her knitted wrist
Grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry.
sleeves
We're
beforehand.
all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last.
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
I'd assume that night had something to do with the fire because of the bandages, but I may be incorrect about that. Also, it is very, very dark.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
plenty of candles equals like
When my mom
5
said the library,
candles.
I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Did Edie kill herself? Is that why she said she was staying behind? I mean, if so...
You're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith.
Ooh, a story within a story.
Stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Oh my.
There was an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
That sounds like a very specific set of events.
Died in 1,000 years. God,
But great for
smell.
plot purposes.
You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Just walk straight. Just keep walking, just keep
I got
walking.
turned around.
This rock wasn't there before. And okay.
For a while, I wondered. I started seeing things.
Having hallucinations of local wildlife.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Huh.
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Huh. This is interesting.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go.
Or you're gonna rip it.
I kicked
You
and
let go.
screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
So long, Great Grandma Edie.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Huh. Where did she go? Did she go back to her
After
house?
that, we moved around a lot.
Also, why these dumb
We
wrist
both tried to
things?
make the best
Is
of
this a millennial thing? Is this what the kids wear?
it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it,
Yeah, she seems that way.
but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
See,
I
sickness,
was alone.
that's unavoidable. To an extent.
The last Finch left alive.
I mean, like, there's the whole anti-vaxxer thing, and that's
Until I found out about
its
you.
own thing. But some, like there are
I'm
a
still
lot
not
of
sure what to
health
tell you about all
concerns that,
this.
like, there's almost no way to
Lived
predict.
forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes.
And if you don't talk to each other, you'll never understand
How
anything.
strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you.
Okay, so
But now I hope you'll never see it.
the controller seems to be vibrating to a pulse, so I'm guessing I
just
am
wanna meet you.
in the role of the baby
I
being
always
born.
was myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Did Edith Finch also die?
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
And she died in childbirth, making for a very sad and depressing family. Okay. Well, let's see if I could somehow collect my thoughts on this. That was a very, very sad game. It's interesting in regards to, like, in comparison to other walking simulators. I would argue that this one does a better job in its storytelling than most. I enjoyed the storytelling in Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, but I felt that everything was too far apart. And you moved too slowly, so there were large lulls in the game, especially when it came to trying to figure out where you're supposed to go next, whereas this one is much more concise, much closer together. So in just like the gameplay aspect, the way everything's set up, this one's done better. And also this one offers a lot more variety, more surprises are in store. It's not just the go somewhere and look at thing. It involves the player at a greater degree than that, which was unexpected, and it was good. Would I recommend it to anybody? I would probably recommend it to like the people I know who play games more for the story than the gameplay. There was a question I had for some that I've kind of developed recently, like, would you rather play a game that has poor gameplay but an excellent story, or great gameplay but a poor story? And some answer, and I got various answers from different people. Like, I've played games that have great stories but terrible gameplay, or great gameplay but terrible stories. Bulletstorm, yeah, would be an example of a game I would call that has great gameplay but terrible story. Like, this doesn't have terrible gameplay, but people who are coming here are going to be here for the story, not really the interactivity or being challenged by any gameplay concern. And I think the people who are more into storytelling and character development, I think they would be into this game especially. Because the writing is really well done. Though, altogether, like, this is kind of game, I think I mentioned a while back, in the novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The main character has a wife. She gets cut out of the Blade Runner movie, but also along with her, she has a phone, and if she dials a number, she receives an emotion from that number. You can dial a number to receive happiness. You can dial a number to receive joy or laughter. You can dial a number if you do not know what number we want to dial. She messed around with that phone, and she figured out how to dial a number to receive emotion, receive depression, to receive sadness. It is not pre-programmed. She figured it out. Now, the argument is that having some sadness in your life is an important thing. You can't just be happy all the time because your baseline changes. So, like, having some sadness in your life allows you for contrast. So if you want some sadness in your life, if you want to feel depressed, this is the game for you. Thank you for watching. Questions, comments, recommendations for something to play next? Comment down below or send it on over to itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. That's itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. So long for now.